Hey there, I am so glad you're here. Come on in and enjoy Coffee Chat at the Cubby Hole. Okay, you might be thinking, coffee sounds fun, but girl, what is the Cubby Hole? The Cubby Hole was a divine little nudge on my heart, if you will, to build the space in our basement, in our home, where our friends and family could come and receive encouragement and love. And that's exactly what we've been doing. I've always known that the Cubby Hole would have a ripple effect out into the world, that it could bring encouragement and hope, not just to people that could visit here in person. That is exactly why I do Coffee Chats. I get to take some of the coolest people that are just like you and just like me, who have skill and talent, but most importantly, they have a vulnerable, relatable story that we can all glean some hope and encouragement from. So grab a coffee, cozy up, and enjoy Coffee Chats at the Cubby Hole. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to Coffee Chats at the Cubby Hole. Y'all, I am sitting here with my sweet friend, Iyonna Ware, and guess what? We just met in person this morning.
Yes.
First of all, thank you so much for being with me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. I have been so excited to have you on. So backstory before I talk about what we're going to be talking about. We met through Facebook.
Yes.
Through a mutual friend of ours. And this girl, I was telling you guys earlier in the promo that okay, I'm going to make you smile because that smile has been lighting up the entire Cubby Hole. I love your smile.
Oh,
I
thank you.
love it. So the first time I saw you on Facebook, because of our mutual friend, I saw you talking. You were doing a video or something, and you just warmed my heart with your smile, first of all. And then just hearing your story. I've just loved watching you. So it's such a joy to be able to meet you today in person.
Oh, and I'm so excited. The intro, I listen to the intro all the time when I watch the Cubby Hole. And to hear you say it in person, it's just like,
oh my God. Oh, get over here, girl. We have been hugging since she walked in the door this morning, and she does not travel alone. She has it has been girl power here. Her friend Sylvia and her friend Jen are here with us. They're right. Girl, look, we have a live studio audience.
Yes.
I love it. They are here today. They're here. They share a ministry together, and we're going to be talking about that today. But we are going to be talking about overcoming, because that's what we do here on Coffee Chats at the Cubby Hole, right? And you have quite the story. You know, I said to God this morning, we pray over every show. I pray by myself in the morning, and I said, God, what word? Give me a word. And the word he gave me today was trajectory. So that's what we're going to be shining a light on today, is trajectory. Okay. Trajectories in our life they're powerful. They can be devastating. We can go in an upward trajectory based on the adversity that we have in our life, and a downward trajectory. And you know what is beautiful? And I know that you're going to agree with this. They're all beautiful.
They're all beautiful.
Because, girl, we were talking about weaves this morning. We were talking about weaves, eyelashes.
Yes.
We're loving our conversations.
Yes,
we're just keeping it real. And God does weave such beautiful stories in our life. And some are beautiful, some make us laugh, some make us cry. So we're going to talk about both today.
Amen.
Yes. And we were talking about brokenness. And as we were starting, I was like, where are my glasses? They're usually on my head. And I went, this is all I have today. So if I am just going to be real, my glasses are broken.
Yeah, and I have a little piece of wire in mine.
Yeah. Oh, do you ever you put it around just to keep it?
Yes, because the little arm broke.
Do you ever do the toothpick?
Yes, I've done that before and break it off.
Pro tip: if I could find the handle, you take it, you put the toothpick in, you snap it off. Girl, you are like new, but I don't even have the other thing, nor do I have a toothpick with me. So this is what we're getting. We're just gonna look straight on at the camera, and no one will know the difference if I hadn't said anything. Oh my gosh! Well, it's been such a joy to have you guys here. We have been having some real coffee time this morning, all four of us just chatting.
Yes.
The only way we can do things around here in Coffee Chats is to dive headfirst into the story, right?
Yeah.
But first of all, introducing you further. You do so many wonderful things in your world. You're a mama.
Yes, I am.
Powerful mama to your daughter.
Yes.
Yes, and I want to talk about her too. And you are a special education teacher.
Yes, I am.
Yes. And you do just all kinds. So you're a powerful mama to your daughter, right?
Yes. Yes. Actually, her name is Jayla Simone. I call her my sunshine. My name means wild rose. And we always say that a rose only needs a little bit of sunshine to grow. So she was what I needed when I needed something to grow. So she's everything to me. So I have one. She's 21. This is her senior year at the University of Tulsa. We just celebrated her top 10 senior.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's exciting. Congratulations. And you give yourself some credit. You have to, right, Mama? That is awesome. Congratulations on that. I know that's such a proud moment.
Yeah, she's worked very hard.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Well, I know that you've, and I have to just take a step back and say, I talk about this almost every week, if not on the show, somewhere around this house, that God gives little God sprinkles every week, something so specific that relates to my guest. It's so beautiful. And last night we were at dinner with our daughter and her fiance, and we were in Birmingham, and David and I wanted to walk downstairs. We went on our first date, and we said, is this still called Edison's? And he said, no. Guess what it's called?
What?
The Rose Room.
The Rose Room?
That's literally what it's called. And I said, we need to bring my mom here for her birthday. If you're watching, Mom, that's what we said, because her name is Rose. And they have a whole wallpaper of roses. So I'm telling you, God is so amazing, the way he weaves and the way I always love the concept of the supernatural of God being revealed and the natural of every day. And that's how it happens. So one of the reasons I was mentioning you're such a powerful mama, right? I didn't think about saying this until this second. It's because of the how you journey through your adversity. Yes. But I didn't think about asking this until just the second. I bet your daughter has seen like the messy, the hard moments too. The hard, like the moments where you're, that we go through that are just, they're hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I would tell her, I've never done this before. I would say, Jayla, I've never done this before. And so God could have made it where you were the mom and I was the daughter. So we're going to go through this. We're going to do this together. I apologize in advance, for anything, because I'm going to do something, but I'm trying to do the best I can. And so we just developed this relationship where she understood I was human, and we kind of grew together.
Mm-hmm. And that is such a beautiful way. Sometimes we start off that way. Sometimes we don't start off that way. Parenting, when we can be humble, in the stories that God gave us, and in walking right where we are in those moments, and I realized way into parenthood that I wish I'd have done it before, but hey, better late than never, that it's okay for them to see us stumble and cry and not be perfect, because that's where they get that sustainable lessons, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Life is the best teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Like with her, discipline was never, it would just allow it to play out. Mm-hmm. Let's see how it's going to play out. I remember one time she kept leaving her key, and she came home from school and she left her key one time. And it was like after me telling her to do it like 12 times. So I just allowed her to be locked out. Right. And then just the emotion that she felt, I was in the car watching her, but the emotions that she felt, she don't ever want to feel that again, just unsafe. So she never left her key again, so life is the best teacher.
You have to do that. I can't tell you how many times our kids have gone to church walking in. Like, I'm like, well, I don't know what shoes Jesus wore, but you're walking in, like you're barefoot. Like maybe he didn't wear shoes, maybe he had a sandal. So find a flip flop in the back seat. Right. Like they didn't bring their shoes to church. I'm like, well, how are you going to learn to bring your shoes to church if you don't have to walk in without them? So yes, letting them stumble, right? Because we sure do. And letting them know that they'll overcome it with their own experience. Then is what they glean from that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's even more powerful to hear you showing up for your daughter and being an incredible mama. We were talking on the phone this week, and you were sharing your story this show's all about diving into the stories, diving into the layers. And one of the first things that we talked about was you and your mom and how you grew up, because we have like 4 pillars hopefully today that we'll get to with your story. But just to summarize, you were a victim of child abuse, domestic violence, debilitating health crisis situations. We're gonna touch on all that. But you tell us wherever you feel in your heart that you want to start with your story and growing up and what you experienced.
Okay, excuse me. So I'm gonna start with my mom, Lucas.
Yeah. Go ahead, please feel free. It was I was very moved listening to you on the phone, because I know what I know of you now, and to hear the story that you've journeyed was just really, really powerful, and I was a little weepy listening to you. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'll start with my mom was very young when she had me. She was 14, and her parents weren't there. Her mom died early, and her dad was there for her, but he was a dad, right? So she didn't have a mom, and then she had like abuse in her family. So she left home early, I think at 14, and she was taking care of herself, on the street, whatever way she found to take care of herself, and she got pregnant, with me. And I ended up in foster care, And, they worked with her to try to get me back in the home. And meanwhile, she had another one. She had my sister and my brother, and so on and so forth. So I didn't have a lot of time with my mom when I was younger because, of how her childhood was and how it came about. So with my daughter, I vowed that I would, be there, be there no matter what, no matter what, and definitely stay around, take care of myself, so that I wouldn't, because my mom's mom wasn't there because she passed on health. So take care of myself and, be there.
So that was important to you. I was just talking to somebody, actually it was a client this week. We got into the concept of pendulum shifting.
Yeah.
And so your mom was unfortunately absent, a lot of, in your life. And so did you find that with Jayla, it's Jayla, right? Jayla, did you find that you kind of pendulum shifted over to, like a maybe helicopter mom, or like, right? Because there's that concept of, this is what the show's about, is the stories, and the stories drive our bus. So then if you're with your daughter, you're like, I can't let her stumble. I have to be there.
Oh my goodness. It was so funny. I wouldn't let her do anything. I was so overprotective. I still am. That's the thing that I apologize the most for. Just like, I don't want you to go through what I went through, just, smothering her to the point where I had to get therapy because she's like this independent child. And I'm just like, so protective, and I want to do this right. And I want to do this right, to learn how to parent from the place that I came from, and like I'm chasing her, and she's like running away.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so that, then you caught yourself, right? In that, it was like at a certain point you went, okay, I need to shift this a little bit, which is another powerful attribute of you as a mama, that you caught it, because rooting in your story, you're like, okay, I'm showing up this way. And that's why when you go out and you're inspiring other people and you're on your journey, you always say, I'm just kind of beginning this journey. But it's those little truths that you can hold on to, where you can turn around and inspire another mama to say, you catch it.
Absolutely.
Right? Isn't that a gift to be able to catch it?
It's a gift to be able to catch it. And it's a gift to be open enough to catch it. Like, I think that's the message. I love women and I love mothers. And I know how just heavy and then how wonderful that role can be, because you're molding another human being. But just, I guess my message to mothers is just be who you are, be where you are. They think you're great.
Yeah. Right.
They don't look at us like my daughter is telling me all these wonderful things that she thinks of me. I'm like, God, I felt the whole time like, I did not feel like that, but I'm like, you're their hero.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I watched, you had I think you live streamed it, or you put a video of was it your daughter's graduation?
Yes,
a party that you had. You
it was her 21st birthday party.
Yes, you could feel the love. Oh my gosh, she loves you so much. Yes, yeah.
I love her too.
Well, I see now there is a how in that is just give yourself a break, because we love to talk about the adversity and the trials, but then I love to bring it back around to the how. What do you do? So yeah, it's catching yourself and making that shift.
And then always, 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 if I could stress anything, and I say this all the time, you are doing the best that you can. You know, always remind yourself. You know, when I see another mom like struggling at the grocery store, you're doing the best that you can. Take a deep breath and just know, you know, everybody's really doing the best that they can, even you.
Yeah, for sure.
Give yourself a break.
Like, we overlook that so much, but we in the moment sometimes we don't.
Right.
So now, okay, then the next major experience in your life. I mean, you had a lot of them, but then you experienced domestic violence.
Yeah.
In your life. So then now I'm wondering with J-Lo, were you like, oh no, you're not, like watching who she's dating, and you want to just, okay, I was out of the way, now move out of the way, because I'm about to get involved here. Like when she wanted to date. I mean, so let's first of all back us up, and you can explain your story if you feel comfortable about your experience with domestic violence in your life.
Well, yeah, I can say that with domestic violence, like it really is something that serves as a mirror, so to speak, because Jayla, her major now is political science, and she's going to go for law because of that situation, and not, you know, on his behalf, but on his behalf. She saw that when there's abuse in your family, you know, it can go from generation to generation, because he's a good person. You know, he just needed help. He was abused. And so I had been abused, you know, and then, so it's just like, sometimes it ends up being a cycle, right? So how we were managed in going to look for help as a family and different things like that, it really solidified, you know, her purpose in life. So now she's going for law, civil injustice, because he needed help, or I needed help, or we needed help, and we couldn't get it. So it really has been a positive thing, you know.
I can't even tell you enough how much I love what you're saying. I mean, I'm hearing an undertone of, well, obviously forgiveness.
Oh, definitely.
Understanding. And I know this because we talked about it, is the healing power of Jesus with redemption.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that for sure. But see, another weave happened in there, because this experience, I mean, and I just love hearing you, because your experience, you're not bitter, you have forgiveness, and right, would you agree that takes time, right? So right?
Yeah, it takes time, and I would say I'm not bitter and I have forgiveness, but I have had this thing where I was kind of mad at myself, because people would say, you know, you're supposed to be upset, you're supposed to hate people, and you're supposed to be angry with them, and I never was. And so it's like you feel like, what's the matter with me? You know, I'm supposed to have this response, and I don't. I'm typically the one to end up helping them, or, you know, still being the one that, you know, helps them get to the other side. So I just have a heart for them even while it's happening. So, you know, so just in that, just again, don't be so hard on yourself.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, you give yourself grace. Like, there's another undertone is grace. I heard you allude to it earlier without actually saying the word. Give yourself grace as a mama. Same thing in this situation. Okay, I want to just stay here for a minute and just unpack this, because we always have the viewer in mind. We prayed over the people that would be watching the show, whether it's right now or maybe you're watching this a year from now, and maybe you stumbled on this, and this is the medicine, the exact medicine, that Iyonna's story is the medicine that you need in this moment, because you're walking through a domestic violence situation. So first thing is, do you feel like there were stories in your life that made you feel like when you experienced this, that you were, maybe was there like a codependent situation where you felt like you wanted to fix him, it was your fault? Did you go through that season? What was the journey?
Okay, so first of all, I love people, you know, and I know
that is clear. You love people. Yeah, I love that about you.
I love people, and I'm very loyal. You know, I'm very loyal. So if I make a decision, so for me, love is a decision. And so I made a decision to love him. And I always, you know, always feel like we're not what we do. So no matter what he did, you know, I vowed to love him. And so that was the thing. So and I knew he had a history of abuse. So just not to change him, but to kind of love him while he went through his process. But I never considered, you know, what I'd do if, you know, he hurt me, you know, but the thing, so many good things came out of that because I gained clarity, you know, seeking God for answers in that, like, you know, when there's domestic violence, God, but you said you don't like divorce. And so just really I really dove deeper into my relationship with God. And so did he. He said that that's when he found Christ because he couldn't believe that he did it, you know. And so he's not a bad person, but he's a broken person.
Broken. And aren't we all?
And I'm broken.
Yeah,
you know, I was broken.
Right.
And so it was just like, okay, we need to get some help. You know?
He did.
And he did. And he found God, you know, he found Christ. And so did I. So I wasn't necessarily trying to change him, but I'm very protective. And I had to, the day the Lord said this, spoke to my heart, give him back to me. You know, wow.
Those moments, they're so powerful when you love somebody so much and you can just feel God saying, okay, you've done what you need to do now, please move out of the way. And not that I'm speaking for God, but you need to step aside, right?
Yes. We didn't make each other. God made him and I didn't, and he knows what to do with them better than I could. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And then also somebody that's watching that is journeying through domestic violence or abuse, did you immediately know about boundaries, or
no?
Was that something that you had to learn?
I definitely had to learn. The Bible became my best seller and this book on boundaries. I forgot the author, but I had to learn them because, you know, I heard people say, you know, you attract what you are. For me, I attracted what I was used to. So because I had been exposed to abuse, I was used to covering from my mom, protecting my mom, covering from, you know, my protecting. And so I just, that's almost like who I was. So when I decided I didn't like the way this felt anymore, I started to look for, you know, why. That's my journey in finding Christ. Boundaries. Hey, wait a minute. I don't have to, you know, be a doormat, right?
Right. Yeah. That's such a powerful breakthrough moment when you realize that you can have understanding and forgiveness. And then sometimes when you go, okay, I have understanding and forgiveness, or I'm going to journey toward that. And then, well, wait, I don't want to accept that behavior either. You can do both.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Absolutely. You absolutely can. You can do both. You can do both. I'm a witness that you can. It's, again, the awareness that you can do, because sometimes you're so involved in how you feel. Like me, a lot of times my emotions, I just became them. And you don't have that awareness that I can do both. I can choose, right? We all can. He can choose, you know? So, and that's what it is. We chose to get better. We chose to all, you know, get on the path of healing. You know, it's not just that person a lot of times. It's like a mirror. I think relationships are mirrors. So I saw myself, he saw himself, and everybody is better because of it.
Oh, I love it. Now, you mentioned mirror earlier. Would you elaborate on that a little bit? You said you felt that with the relationship was like a mirror. And I'm a huge fan of that concept for so many different reasons. But what do you mean by that?
I mean that, okay, so we work on ourselves. You know, we listen to podcasts, we go to sermons if that's what we do. We watch videos, all self-development, self-improvement. And that's good when we're by ourselves.
Right.
But it's not tested, tried and true until you're engaging with another person intimately. And so then you get to walk out those things that you learned about or saw, and then you don't have cooperation a lot of times because you're dealing with another human being. And then when you respond, you get to see how you respond. You know, you can't see that by yourself. You know, you get to see how you feel, you know, about that. And really, sometimes, like for me, I could see that, Iyonna, wait a minute, your response was way overboard. This didn't call for all that. So then with me, it was like, okay, I need to take a look at that, you know, and start working on my ways. So that's what I mean. Like being intimately involved with someone like that, like in a marriage, you see yourself and they see them. You know, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have seen maybe that I was broken.
Exactly. That's why that there's so many beautiful ways that God weaves our story.
Yes.
And what you're saying there exactly is the truth. I mean, the word there that I'm hearing you say is trigger, and that comes from somewhere. He was triggered. You said he had, a brokenness in his past. And, and that's the beauty of Jesus is that, well, he's Jesus and we're not, right? And we can, because we can't get it, that love that, I mean, he loves so unconditionally, and it's his role, God, it's God's role for the judgment and all that. It's not our job for the judgment. It's to get out of God's way, but to protect. We are vessels.
Yes.
We are stewards of him and the light that he gave us. So we also don't need to take the abuse. But when don't you agree? Like I have chains around here somewhere. I use them in talks. They feel the chains just come right off of your shoulders when you can, have that light bulb go off where you say, I can forgive. And I can, the way to forgiveness is to start by understanding. And then in that journey, also not allowing the behavior. It's that whole formula.
I wanted to say right there, I went through, because again, relationships, they cause you to see yourself if you're open, this process of forgiveness. And, I wrote down everyone that I needed to forgive. And I wrote my name at the top of the list. I wrote my name at the middle and at the bottom because it was me. It was me. I was mad at myself for not responding a certain way. I was mad at myself for not doing this and doing that. And I was so hard on myself. So when I forgave me, I could breathe. I couldn't even forgive them until I forgave me.
That's a huge, powerful point.
I couldn't.
Yeah, because you have to start with yourself and everything in the accountability.
Yes.
In all of it. Yes.
Absolutely. So that was huge. So if I could stress that to anyone, just forgive yourself. Just work anytime you feel like even anxiety, a lot of times for me, I was being too hard on myself. You should have been on time. You should have did this. You should, never mind everything that you're trying to do and everything that you're involved with. And just, you really are trying to do your best, even you. So just be not so hard on yourself. I just learned not to be so hard on myself.
That's
forgive myself first.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We are getting a note that we are not live, but we are live on YouTube. I do know that live on YouTube. But you know what? It will be on the replay. I do show here. Luckily, see, it's interesting the way to this broadcast, and I hope it's recording because it does say live. I was actually checking it, but I think that we are live. And sometimes YouTube, there is a delay there. It's not always, sometimes it might not be on live, but it will be on in the replay. So we're going to put faith in the fact that it is live and it will be recorded in the replay. And you know what? Worst case scenario, we do it over.
We'll do it again.
But we're having fun. We believe in dress rehearsals. We're all right, but it does say live. So I'm going to trust my live meter right there. So thank you so much. When you have a live audience,
I told you
we've got production staff, producers over there. I need this.
Yes.
This is actually
extra hands and feet because you can't be there and here and everywhere.
I know. I usually have, it's me and my dog Frank, who's usually in that chair, and I don't know where he is. It's just the two of us. And I always say to David, I wish I had a crew. And I've got a crew, so thank you. Thank you, team. But we're trusting. We're trusting that we are live. So thank you. I love all that you're saying. I love it so, so much. And this is why, and actually my husband and I were just having a conversation today that we journey through so many different, careers. We were talking about the young people in our life when we find our way in our life, and you've been finding your way. And now tell us about, we're going to get into a lot of other things here in our time left, but you are so passionate about what you're starting right now in your ministry and helping people.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
This came from a few years ago now, almost 2 years. We're almost 2 years ago. I was exposed to some unknown chemical and some level of radiation. And I got really, really sick. That's the health condition. And we went through the process of getting me well. We had, natural things that the Lord showed us that we needed to move away from, like just synthetic, things like that. So, but I won't get into that. But through that process, and sitting there and, everything that I felt and everything that I thought. I just thought about the fact that I'm not going through this just for me. I'm not. And when I overcome the people who are where I was at every stage, wondering if you're going to live, wondering how you're going to pay your bills, wondering just like, how would you even, move forward, because I'm divorced now, in another relationship if you can't breathe. Because you can't breathe, you can't kiss, you can't hug, you can't do this, all the different concerns you have. You're young, your life isn't over, you're a child, just all the thoughts that you have. So me determining to and having this burning desire, knowing that you had a purpose. And what about the people who felt that? What about the people who didn't have friends and sisters like I do? And so that's where it came from. We need each other. We need to connect with each other. We need to be vulnerable with each other. You may get to a place where you need someone to help you use the restroom, to bathe you. We need those kind of connections, those vulnerable connections. And so, and in that, you feel things. You need to talk to people. One day, Sylvia said, Iyonna, everybody doesn't have an Iyonna in their lives. And that triggers something for me. And so when I do leave videos and when I do leave posts, I'm talking to you as if you're my sister, my brother, my family, because social media is wonderful for that type of a thing. So maybe no one checked on you today. No one asked you if you drank your water, or reminded you to get your supplements, or reminded you to go out in nature. And so I'm here. I want you to be here too. This is what I found, that brought me back to peace. And so I want to share it with you too. So I always call it like sharing my joy. So that's where it came from. Just my experience, and knowing, what helped me through it was really connection. It was connection to God that gave me the answers in terms of what to do. It was connection to other people that loved me. I know that love does. If you love someone, you'll do what's required. God is love. And then connection back to myself. Laying there for that 2 years gave me the time to connect to me in a way in which I had never had. I didn't even know who I was because I was always busy. So when I got still, I was able to see I really have done the best that I can. So I like me a lot better now too.
Oh my gosh. So much in that. And I'm actually just sitting here, I'm staring at your face because it's so beautiful. I can see those eyelashes, my girl. I love it. And you are, what's that?
In honor of Marlo.
Oh, they're the lashes. Oh, yes. Oh, I didn't mean to sidestep, but we were talking about lashes. I'm like, girl, this one is coming. It's like right in the middle. If it pops off when we're live, you just keep going, keep going. I love it. You're so beautiful. What I was going to say is you have such a natural, beautiful glow about you. And I can just feel that it comes from so many byproducts of the stories that we're talking about, because the trajectory, like I said, that's the word God gave me today, was trajectory. But you are taking your experiences, even though there might have been moments where you tank and you go on a lower resonating trajectory. Overall in your life, you are on this trajectory toward doing what God is calling you to do. And it serves your heart so well because you've walked these experiences, and sometimes we have to reach up for help.
Yes.
And then we get to turn around and reach down, but like where people meet them where they're at.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing. And I was just thinking the word trigger. You mentioned the word trigger, and I was thinking the word trigger often is because it triggers us to something negative, but it's triggered you in such a beautiful way to be this for other people. But you couldn't have walked it if you didn't walk in the muck, right?
Absolutely. And I can tell you this, when I had that exposure, everything was affected. My senses, I couldn't recall for a period of time. I couldn't see. That's why I wear shades. A lot of times I have sensitivity. There's some lingering residue the Lord showed me. But what I learned to feel people at a deeper level, the warmth of people. And I hear myself say a lot now lately, gosh, when I see people, you're so beautiful. Because we really are really just that feeling that we leave somebody with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like with you, I felt you. When I hear your voice, I feel you. I was very nervous a moment ago, but even your voice, it gives you a feeling. And so it's just like, it's just about the feeling that we leave. So
yeah. And the world doesn't have enough of that feeling. That's why I was drawn to you too online, because like there's just something in my spirit, and we know where we're believers, and where we feel that comes from, that we can feel when somebody has that spirit about them.
Yeah.
And you have this spirit where you just genuinely, I don't mean to speak for you, but I feel like you and Sylvia and Jen, you guys are on a mission for the world to be a better, more beautiful place. Right?
Yes.
The girls are going, yes, they're back.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's true,
Yeah.
right? That's what your desire of your heart.
We typically say a lot, we're on this operation, get humanity back to love.
Yes.
And so in love is a decision, of course, for me. You decide. So we don't throw people away. So not only, when you talk about the feeling, there's warmth when someone is grumpy. There's warmth when someone is angry. That's just a symptom of what's really going on. So those people we're drawn to, those people we want to touch, those people we want to let them know that we see you.
Yes.
We understand those days. We get it. We're more alike than we are different. So we often call it just get humanity back to patience with one another. Just be kind. We're all going through something.
That's right.
And we're all that we have. We do hashtags a lot. We say hashtag we're all we got. We really are. When I couldn't do anything for myself, when she couldn't, and when she couldn't, we were there for each other. And love led the way. And so now we wanna be that out here. We want to be that, and we want to be the model of that. Like we need to be sisters again, and brothers again, and family again. And connect again.
I could feel it the minute all three of you walked in the door. You just mentioned sisters, and I could just feel this connection with you guys. And it's just a beautiful bond. And I know we were all just chatting and having coffee, that you're all at different stages of your journey. I know Sylvia and I were talking about, and I know you relate with this too. And I want to use this as a way to transition over to your story of faith. Sylvia and I were talking, and Jen, we were all sharing our story of when we grew to know Jesus. We know of him, but when did we grow to trust him in our walk? And we were all kind of agreeing that I know for me, I speak when I'm on the show, I'm representing me about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And because I, didn't want to hear it. I didn't know what people were talking about. It was just too much. And now because of experiences that you have, where Jesus shows you that, he's the way. He shows up in that supernatural way, in the natural of every day. Then you build your own journey. But would you talk about where your faith came from? Because it wasn't part of your life. So what was your journey in walking?
Okay, so
faith journey?
It was not a part of my life at all, you guys. It really wasn't until I decided I wanted to have a baby. And I was able to have a baby after a tubal pregnancy. And then they said, you can't have children. And so now I know, believing that I can, even though the doctor said I couldn't, that's faith. So I went on, I got pregnant, and I was able to birth her. But then after I birthed her, they said that she was going to die. They said she was going to be special needs. They said all of these things. And so I remember my grandmother was Muslim, and she raised me predominantly when I was younger. And so I remember someone talking about, God. So I don't know what my verbiage was then, but I basically said, okay, I know there's a power greater than me in the hospital room. My daughter had the IV, and she was attached, and everything was swollen, and she was struggling to breathe. And, I said, if you exist, I promise to learn about you and to teach her about you if you give me her life. And so I decided after that, there was a chaplain at that Providence hospital, to go downstairs and have him pray over me. And he did that. I didn't know what it meant, but I did know what I promised. And so, I'm a soldier. I keep my word. And so I did that. And so we didn't even have enough money to bring her home with a car seat. She had to stay 2 extra days because we were just that, low on funds, because she had been sick and I had been back and forth in the hospital. And so, but I kept my promise. We caught the bus when we didn't have gas. We did whatever to get to churches and find truth. And so that's been my journey, just searching for truth. And she has not been sick ever again. I took her out of the hospital, and I took all the breathing, the apparatus, the nebulizer, we put that away. So that's why for this to happen to me with respiratory, I said, oh no, it's not going to happen. So, but that's my journey. That's why I say a lot of times, God does ordain people too, or, God can do it too. It can happen. Just get down on your knees with a sincere heart and know that you didn't make yourself. Mm-hmm. All the miracles that life is, it had to come from somewhere, and just surrender and be real.
Yes.
Be real. Talk to the Lord like you do the person in your head.
I do.
Right.
We were joking about that earlier, because that's what it's about, is just having a conversation. Oh my gosh, there's so many areas. I'm going to keep them all straight because there's so many I could go right now. But that is the one I want to start with, is just talk to him.
Just talk.
It does not, I just was chatting with somebody this week, and they said that everything was so formal when they were growing up, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you can just talk to him and surrender. I just picked up on this weave in your life. Your daughter with breathing issues. Your I'm just sensing this chokehold of you in your life with what you must have felt, the stories that you told me about being a foster child, and what you experienced as a child. I mean, we could do endless shows with you. The chokehold of just metaphorically not being able to breathe, and domestic violence, then having a debilitating health issue, which took your ability to breathe. And I am just hearing you say that all you want to do is breathe this beauty, this hope out into the world. And I think what you're saying is one of the first places that your house for people, for women, for men, the places to start is to just tell them to step back and start by breathing. Yeah. There's got to be the word. I'm just wondering if down the road there's going to be something with the word breathe in it for you, because that's your core word. And it's funny because before any of this ever happened, I'm very repetitive. I'm a teacher, and I believe repetition is good for learning. So I get on their nerves, I know. But my prayers are very repetitious, because I have to say it until it clicks in me. So I used to always say, and I still do, as I breathe in and as I breathe out, that is my worship and that is my praise. And so it's always been about just breathing for me, because at very minimum, that is God. He is the breath of life. And no one can take your breath. That's what I said. And I don't want to get too deep, but that's what I said to the enemy. You didn't give me breath, and you can't take it away from me. Wow. And that's when it all stopped. I'm not going to be afraid in taking all of this medication. When God gave me breath, God, I need you to restore me. I need you to keep your word. This is something that only you can do. And so that's why now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who likes me, who doesn't, what they say. I have got to look in your eyes, and I've got to touch you and let you just breathe. He gave us the breath of life. He gave us everything, every desire, and we can fulfill all of it as long as we're breathing. So take care of yourself, mental, physical, spiritual. It's time to get balanced and centered. And so that's my message. That's the message. So whatever we can do, everything that we did to get me well was to help me ultimately breathe. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm full of joy because I'm breathing. Every time, there was a time when I tell people, plug up your nose and put a straw in your mouth and imagine breathing, trying to get air every moment of the day. So when you get to the point where you can talk, you think about the suffering to where you're like, Lord, I don't know. I see why people, want to leave you, because every moment you're struggling to breathe. We don't have to think about breathing. Mm-hmm. The Lord is so kind. Mm-hmm. I post that a lot. The Lord, we are breathing. We're anything else we can do because we're breathing. I am listening so intently to you, and I'm also imagining how I can get that mic that's on the stage so I can just drop it right now. I'm orchestrating my arm. How far is it? Because I'm like, all that I heard was mic drop. Like, what? We're done. Thank you for joining us. Oh my gosh, that is unbelievable. like we were joking all the time. I joke it all the time. Won't he do it?
Yes.
And like we were joking today about our stretchy pants. I'm like, won't he do it? And the stretchy pants help. And he will do it. And that's what you're saying is, it's just beautiful. And I don't know if you know this, but when you walked downstairs, when we were all down here standing, the song "Goodness of God" was playing. I don't know if you know that song, but it says, "With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God."
Absolutely.
If that isn't you,
and that's
all y'all here.
Yes, and that's the thing.
Y'all and your peeps. All of us, we're all peeps now. We'll never not know one another. Yeah.
Like in the middle of conversation now, I just praise him. That's why I say all the time, like, it's not worship on a platform at church or anything, just
right.
You worship him with your life, not in seasons anymore. You worship him with your life. You do things with the spirit of excellency. You take time for people. You take time to make eye contact and touch, whatever it is, take time, because no moment is promised. That's a part of breathing. Stop being so busy to get to a place. I know I frustrate people with like not being on time, but if someone needs something, if someone needed a hello, I'm going to stop to do it now, because you never know. Just someone struggling to breathe, they may not be able to voice out anything. Just me going back and forth to the pulmonologist and the neurologist, and just how the sick people in the nursing home, take time for each other. Take time for each other. That helps you to breathe.
Yes, it helps you to breathe. It helps the other person to breathe. And that's why you are breathing through this beautiful ministry that you all are doing. Before I forget, if people wanted to reach out to you and all y'all, how would they do that?
Well, I'm on Facebook a lot. So just my name, Iyonna Ware. And then on Instagram, like I said, my name means wild rose. And I have a blog. So I am forever Wild Rose 35. And so you can reach me there, Instagram or Facebook and Messenger. I love to communicate with people. I like to take time with people. You might get a little, song from me or a little prayer, because I'm just overloaded with joy.
Right. Whatever. I come from the pharmaceutical industry, and I talk about like delivery systems of like that. You are a delivery system of all kinds of beautifulness. But we're not done. We have a little bit of time left. So, what you were talking about, one of your favorite Psalms, Psalm 139.
Yes.
And do you want to explain why that's so important to you?
Absolutely. So going through everything that I had gone through, and I do mean through, got to the other side, overcome. My brother died by suicide during the time frame when there was domestic violence going on. And so it took a toll on my physical. It took a toll on the continence of my face. And so, you can work out and do those sort of things, but your skin, your face is what you have to face the world with. And my continents were hard and they were deep. And I didn't like it. And I went to the Lord with this song, and it says, "He who satisfies my life with good things, shall renew my youth like the eagles." And of course, I'm a lifetime learner. So I studied out the life of an eagle, and I learned it, and I just put myself in that place. And so one day I'll tell you guys the story of the eagles, like my favorite story, have this wonderful imagination. And so this scripture, I believe that God's word, it goes out and it performs, and it doesn't return to God empty. So I just put the little Post-it note on the bathroom mirror. Whenever I brush my teeth or wash my face, I just confess it until it clicked in me and I believed it. Because that's the thing, y'all. When we believe it, it's going to happen. And so I believed him to take those hard continents, and I believed him to renew my youth. And so I took the pictures of the lines on my face, and there were several lines. And then after the course of the healing and the process that I've gone through and still going through, he removed the lines. And so he always keeps his word. He renewed my youth like the eagles. I went to the doctor for the exams. My internally, biologically is what they said. They were very confused. They said my organs are that of a 20-year-old. I can jump rope. I can do anything a 20-year-old can do. God did it from not even being able to lift up a pen to write. I didn't have enough air in my lungs. So that's important to me, because God kept his word. He kept his word.
Yes.
He kept his word. People they ask me how old I am all the time, so.
I love it's in his word. The truth is in his word. His promises are in his word. I want to talk about your tribe over here as we finish up. But I wanted to ask you, what would you say to somebody that is watching that does not have faith? They may not want to hear it. They don't know where to begin. What would you say?
I would say I've been there too, and sometimes I'm still there. That faith is something that you have to take a chance at. Mm-hmm. That whether you make a decision or you don't, you do something or you don't, you're still doing something. You're still making a decision. So look at my life, what you know about it so far, and just take a chance at faith. Take a chance at believing that what you hope for just might happen. Mm-hmm. Try to line up everything you are, your mind, your will, your emotions, your imagination, your intellect. Line everything up to where you're even beyond belief, to where you just know that thing is going to come to pass. Because the thing is, you've doubted, and how has that served you? Mm-hmm. So let's decide to be in faith like a child. A lot of people say, I'm very childlike. I stay that way because that is a requirement for faith. You can't think, get out of your head, right. Come down to your spirit and believe that what you are actually desiring just might come to pass. And line yourself up. Keep yourself at a place where you're grateful for just at base level, the breath of life. Stay grateful. No matter what. Stay grateful and take a chance at faith. Make the decision. Put in the work. Do the practical things. But believe. Yeah.
I love that you're saying start with gratitude as well. I just learned, I was studying Matthew 21. I think I talked about this last week, and it talked about praying. And then I did a little more research on that. And it was praying, trusting God's will.
Yes.
Not like that we're putting wish coins into a vending machine or, it's a genie lamp. It's going before him with gratitude first. Right. And I know I didn't do that for so long. I was like, Lord Jesus, don't let the snaps come out of this thing. Please don't let me get a ticket. And then the harder things in life. God, where are you? We go to him for every little thing. But I would pray for me. Like, please don't let me get the ticket. Well, maybe I'm supposed to get the ticket because I was supposed to learn something in that. Or maybe it's part of my testimony where I was supposed to learn something. But going before him first with gratitude. And then praying for his will. And then knowing that whatever the result, this is the big thing of that scripture, is knowing that whatever answer it is with his will, that it is serving him.
Yeah. And I want to add to that. The Lord is so kind, period. Exclamation point.
Right.
With that, that's a prayer. That's a praise. If you don't say anything else, that will help to condition your heart. Because when you say the Lord is so kind, then you go to think about in ways in which he's kind. Mm-hmm. You're going to be grateful. Mm-hmm. Yesterday I posted, just give us this day our daily bread.
Yes.
Just keep back to the basics. It doesn't have to be complex. Thank you, God, for the breath of life. Thank you for enough air in my lungs. Thank you, God, for the capacity. Keep it simple. If you desire it, stay connected to him. He gives us what to desire. Be yourself. Talk to God. Good morning. Good morning, Holy Spirit. Keep it simple.
That's perfect. That's so beautiful because, so you know what, when you were talking earlier, what came to mind when we were talking about trusting Jesus in prayer is I'm thinking, I've always wondered, even within myself, what is it that keeps us from that in our journey in the beginning where it's a trigger? We were talking about the word trigger in trajectories. So a trigger is, I know it was for me, trust issues. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I'm not going to, I would walk through this life with a warrior backpack. Like, I got this.
That's me.
Thank you. You and y'all, Jesus. I don't need anything or anybody. I've got this. And it was a trigger for me to trust, to put a backpack of faith on and jump out of a, metaphorical plane. Like, I'm not.
Okay.
And then trajectory sending me in all the areas I needed to see.
Well, how about this? This is something we just did. Me and myself and the ladies, just how about say this? God, I'm afraid to trust people. Mm-hmm. You say that a few times, it gets lighter. It gets lighter. Mm-hmm. Release it somehow. Journal it somehow. Just develop the relationship. If you can develop the relationship with God, you can develop the relationship with other people. You know, just keep it simple. I'm afraid to trust people. That was one of my issues, you know, and I felt that, and now I'm more comfortable. I'm still working on it. I trust the God in people now.
I love that. I was just going to ask you to elaborate on your experience with that. If you can trust God, you can trust other people.
Okay. If you can trust God, you can trust other people. So for me, just simply stated, God is peace within me. If I have peace, I move. If I don't, I don't. Even with the outfit, what to wear, everything, what to drink, where to go, who to talk to. Just ask. Don't forget to ask. What should I wear today? And the Lord will lead you, because it will just be how you're led, like flow like the wind, right? So if you can trust his leading, you will recognize that leading in someone else. You will recognize that peace in someone else. So that's what I mean by, if you can trust God, the God that's in you, then you can recognize the God in someone else, and that you can trust.
I love that. And I also, what I'm hearing you say is that it's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
You know, you and I were talking about this. Like,
it's a flow.
You have to also trust everything that you're saying, and then trust that he puts that it's a knowing.
It's a knowing.
It's a knowing inside of you. It's that it's just a feeling. Like you know. And some people say they have to. It's like have to have a scientific proof or a book knowledge. It's just a knowing.
It's just a knowing.
And you learn to trust that. So when you put that in you, then you can trust it, right?
Yes, and that's another thing that we help people with this ministry. We help people know the voice of God. You know, we help people know the God in them. You know, you have your human spirit, and if you believe this way, the Holy Spirit. They just bear witness with one another. And know, is this the voice of others? Is this the voice of the enemy? Is this my voice? Because our voice is always wants to be comfortable.
Big question for people.
Right. So just what is it? So once you know that, you'll know what to do when you don't know what to do. And you'll know that you can be yourself. God is okay with us being angry, and any other emotion we could have. He's already in there. He feels it with you. So it's just someone going through life with you. Just a flow.
Right. That's the greatest way to think of it too. It's just as a friend. You know, that Jesus is just a friend there to be a comforter, a counselor, and when we can trust in it.
Give us direction.
Yes. And our daily bread. I love that. Oh my gosh. I always joke that when I go to church as a kid, all I could do is listen to my stomach growl. My mom would nudge me once in a while, like, pay attention, you know. And I remember reciting that prayer, give us this day our daily bread. And then I got hungry. And then I just wanted to go to grandma's house for fried chicken. And then I was thinking of bread. And then I was thinking, well, does she have the good butter or I just think it just set me on this trajectory of food. And I just literally yesterday wrote about daily bread and manna, and it's also called. And God showed up in my life in one of my God sprinkle stories, literally with a food truck. And I'm like, won't he do it? Won't he show up when I needed an answer with a food truck? And I even wrote, like, you rolled right in with the bread with the food truck. It's just beautiful. So, and the other is, to have the eyes to see when he gives us these, I call them sprinkles. Some people call them coinkydings or God winks, to trust. First place is to pull back and breathe, right?
Yes.
We can't see anything when we're not breathing and seeing clearly, but we have the eyes to see that. We can feel exactly what it is that you're talking about. David he always refers to that feeling that you're talking about for me in my life as the Cubby Hole feeling.
Yes.
It's when you know it, beyond knowing it, you can feel it. It's not something that you're consciously thinking or aware of necessarily.
Absolutely. Right? And I would suggest too, not that anyone asked me, but connecting with nature more helps you to, be more conscious of what you're feeling. Just disconnecting from all of this sometimes.
1,000,000%.
Consistently, systematically. Just keeps you centered.
You saw my fire pit back there. I was like, I am not afraid to use it. I love you have to eventually you get to the end of yourself. Right. And you just want to spend more time alone. And then that's where the breathing comes from, because you can pull back, spend time alone in nature, whatever speaks to you. And
so you can pull out.
Yes, pour out. Yes, breathe in so that you can
Breathe out.
girl, I see t-shirts. I see t-shirts in your future. I just love you. I gotta ask the girls. I'll ask you, but don't feel obligated. If you guys want to come around here, come on in. Come on in. What does Tabitha Brown say? Come on in the room. Do you know Tabitha Brown?
Yes, I love her.
Love Tabitha Brown.
I love her so much. I love
Here's
her.
the girls. This is Jen.
My
This
Jenny.
is Sylvia. Come on in, guys. Come on,
Come
right
on
in here.
in.
Right in here. Come on in. Yeah, these are your girls. So you know what I
These are
love
my
about
ladies.
this? You guys are so beautiful. I love
gorgeous.
I love that they are your tribe.
Yeah.
You know, and wouldn't you agree that? Come on in here. Come on, let's go in here. There we go. Wouldn't you agree that that's one of the go-tos of the house is to have your tribe of women? You guys feel free to speak it out too.
I want to say this first.
Yeah.
The thing is though, before we met, we didn't have each other. So a part of the how is for us is to be a model of how to not develop, but to assemble a tribe by being yourself.
Right.
Being yourself, putting that desire out there and looking for it and just breathe, like you said.
Right.
But I'll say that, but.
Yeah. Jen and I were talking about, we were all talking about the relatability and not feeling like somebody's judging you, right?
Yeah.
So not feel like you're being judged or labeled in your tribe. I've had some tribes like that. And I just realized, again, no judgment to that person, but that's not the tribe for me, right?
Exactly. And the thing is, ours is really unique in that we're intentional. Like we work through things. Right now we're working on our way. So if something comes up, we handle it God's way. We're not all religious, but the principle says, don't go to bed angry. So we work it out. Like we just, we do the word in our tribe, we're patient with each other. And if like Sylvia struggles with patience, so she does what's required to build herself in that area. Again, a mirror, we allow each other to,
Yeah.
So I can't see me, they can see me. So I would have to ask them, how could I be a better sister? Okay, I need to work on this. They give me what to work on, and I ultimately give them what to work on because that's what is causing us discomfort. So I don't know. They probably know me better than me. I probably know them better than they do because we're looking at each other. We're the ones being affected by being in the presence of one another. And so we work this out as we walk through life. People watch and it's just like, literally we could do altar calls. Can we? We could absolutely, and to me, that's the love of God. It doesn't have to be, you do an altar call. We do baptisms, bonfire in the backyard.
Yeah. Yes. It doesn't have to be formal.
So yeah.
Is there anything that you guys want to share?
I just love our sisterhood. I mean, like she said, we don't throw anybody away. I mean, we've definitely had conflict. We are literally, people ask us, how are we? We are so different.
We're so different.
So different. And, kind of the problem child in the
yes,
group,
Lord.
But,
are we all?
So, I mean, I'm glad, that no matter what, I know that this is a foundation that no one can shake.
Yeah.
No one can crack because we've been tested.
Yeah.
And we're doing life together. And whatever that consists of, every day we go through it. So I love her. I mean, we're in this together.
Yeah. I love it. What about you, Jen? I loved hearing your testimony this morning.
Yeah, I would say that we're pieces to a puzzle. And as we mentioned earlier, as long as we continue to walk in love, then, we flow like the wind.
Yeah.
And that's what works for us.
Yeah.
We are fully who we are, and we love everybody. So we love ourselves, and we love each other.
You have to start by loving yourself first. I love that, right? Yeah. And then in a puzzle, some people, some are a little edgy, right?
Oh, that would be her. That would be silly.
the edge pieces, yeah. And that we started off to bring this full circle.
Yes.
We are talking about the sisterhood now, but sisterhood with yourself first, right? To give yourself, the word here is grace. Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace.
Like you said, you can't help others breathe until you can breathe yourself. And then we can't give others grace until we can learn to give ourselves grace.
And to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
So we encourage each other. you know, wait a minute, Jen, you're being too hard on yourself. You know, you're doing the best that you can. Because so many times you really are the hardest one on you.
Right. It's because of the triggers of, you know, what shows up. And this, we could just, oh my gosh, so many shows here. We can go on to so many shows, but, you know, inadequacies, imposter syndrome, trust, all of it roots up. And that's when we as individuals are not breathing. And that's why our sisterhood is like, okay, look, you're not breathing right now. We're going to go ahead and get you to breathe. And then you're going to see it in a different way. So, oh my gosh, we could go on forever. I just love you guys. It's so great having you. Group hug. Come in, group hug. Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, smile, because we're going to get a picture. Later, I'll grab that. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're going to go chat some more. I can't wait to spend more time with you guys. But you know what? Usually I wrap up. Come on, Becky. You have the last word. I usually wrap up with you know, something at the end. But what do you want to say as we close?
As we close, I'll say I just want to encourage everyone, including myself, to be fully who you are. I mean, fully who you are, not who someone else is. Be fully who you are, you know, and to pray over every desire. Don't forget to ask God. You don't need some fancy words, worship. You don't have to be some grand singer, you know, be grateful. Start with simple prayers. And even if you've been with the faith for a while, maybe come back to this simple place. The Lord is so kind, you know, just to bring yourself back to a center. It's a lot going on in the world. We need to connect with people. We need to connect with ourselves, and we need to connect with God. We are all that we have, you know, so smile at people again, you know, smile at people again, make eye contact, and be yourself. Don't forget to live. Don't forget to live. Whatever that means, go do it. If you want to do it, plan for it, do it. Be safe, but don't forget to live and be who you are. Don't pretend. No playing roles. No pretending anymore. Just be you. Be you. Go through it. Get to the other side. Get you some sisters so they can hold your hand.
Yeah, that's right. You guys are such a beautiful team together. I love it. And I've loved all of you. And I want to say before we close, I apologize. I just realized it is only my name up there, but your name, we didn't put your name up there, but I apologize for that. But Iyonna Ware, I love your name. It's so beautiful. Jen and Sylvia, I loved having you guys here in the Cubby Hole live. Thank you so much. Oh, it was my pleasure having you. We're going to go chat some more. So, okay, well, find her online. You will find her. You gave all your information so they can find you if they need you. But we're going to sign off for now. So until next time, sending love to you all. And what did we say? Don't forget to breathe. Oh, yeah. I'm going to go with yours. We'll do yours first. Don't forget to live and don't forget to breathe. No, that's all we have to say. It's mic drop. Bye, everybody.